What's going on, golf fans? It's your boy Gsluke here with a little showdown stream. We've got round two Friday at the Byron Nelson, and going to break down what you need to know both from the weather perspective when you're looking at PGA DFS, you're looking at the prop side. You're going to know everything you need to about tomorrow's round, probably plus a little bit of extra too. We'll throw in a little bit of fun here and there, and hopefully cash out tomorrow, just like we did today. We had quite the prop day today. Ended up nearly sweeping over there on Underdog. Had a cash card over there on No House Advantage, and feeling pretty good about ourselves. For main slate, not so much. To this point, it's been a little bit rough sledding, especially if you're somebody that faded Scotty Scheffler. I mean, the guy is inevitable, right? He's Thanos in this kind of field. We'll talk about him a little bit later. I think me playing him in Showdown tomorrow might be a little bit of the mush that we need for our week-long lineups. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good start to their week here. We've got Rob down there. What's going on? Absolutely nuclear day today. Yeah, it was a good one. What's going on, Alex Escobar? We got Dinger Bets in the chat. Says, all right, let this guy loose, catching the green goblins. Who let you loose over there, Dinger? I saw that you swept yourself today, so you love to see it. And what's going on, Harley? Your wife's boyfriend just made some serious cash because of me. Yeah, my dog Chloe also made a good amount of money today too. So I love to see it. So let's hop into it. Let's take a look at what we saw today and what we might expect tomorrow. Oh yeah, these are on the screen. These are the green goblins you're talking about. Let's not talk about these NBA picks that I made yesterday. 0 for 4. I mean, it's a good thing people aren't paying me for NBA picks, right? I absolutely donate on those playoffs, but yeah, today we went off, right? We had a bunch of understrokes over there in Underdog, and you could see this one was a little $2,500 cash. You could see up there a little $1,500 cash. You don't hate to see it. And then look at this, guys. Loss on NBA. Loss on baseball. So if you want to know where a lot of my extra losses go when it comes to betting, it's all these bullshit picks, right? I'm no good at betting on basketball. I'm a true DJ at heart there. Let's take a look at today from the play perspective, right? Get an idea. We saw that weather advantage, right? We talked about it on the weekly live stream. Thought we'd see about a stroke difference, maybe a little bit more between the two waves, and it was right about a stroke. So towards the lower end of the spectrum, I thought we might see something like a stroke and a half, maybe even a 2-stroke difference between the two waves. You'll see that from time to time in Texas when you get the winds up there real gusty, but that was not the case today, right? The course was set up pretty easy. I mean, still a 1.8 under par average with pretty gusty winds in the afternoon. Also, right, it's a par 71 this year as opposed to the par 72 last. I was impressed by the scoring. And for tomorrow, we're getting the same kind of weather situation, except that it's all day, right? So rather than just in the afternoon, getting slightly gustier conditions, pretty much all of Friday looks a lot windier. You take a look at the Willy weather over here. They're calling for the same thing, right? These are the sustained winds. You can see they're in the 15-mile-an-hour range pretty much the entire day. So these afternoon conditions that we saw here on Thursday, I think are going to be very comparable to what we're going to get all day tomorrow. So you can see it's 1.2, 1.3 under par. That's probably reasonable to expect next time. It's worth noting, though, if you look at some of these top-end scores, plenty of them still came in the PM wave, right? So we talked about Scotty, right? He roasted the golf course, right? Who would have thought, right? World number 2 roasted the golf course, but it wasn't just him, right? Jason Day was up there. Ryan Palmer was PM wave. Let's say, I know there were others. Siwoo Kim, Sam Stevens, for example. We can keep going, right? There's a bunch of them. Eric Cole, Dylan Wu was another PM wave golfer. A lot of these guys still finished in the top 29 scores. If you look at just the overall average, right? Sure, there was a stroke difference between the two waves, but it really didn't pan out that way from the top end perspective. So that's why I say the week-long stuff maybe hasn't gone my direction all that much at this point. And what are you going to do about it, right? I played a few of these guys up top that went off, but I wasn't on Jason Day, right? He was like 25% owned. And then we know the whole Scotty Scheffler situation, right? 40% owned there. That one's going to hurt not to have for week long. I can already tell there, but that's okay. That's why we're over here in Showdown, right? Hey, your week-long lineups are dead. I don't want to call my lineups dead because it's only been one day. Hey, that's what we got Showdown for. So looking at the weather, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a massive edge between the two waves, right? Like I was mentioning before, it's pretty flat the entire day. I just think you're going to see slightly harder scoring. Anytime we have harder scoring or really windy conditions, I'm looking for players that are more experienced, right? Like those Corn Ferry Tour explosive players that are new on the scene are great in Birdie Fest. They're good when conditions are for the taking. When it's going to be nasty out there, like I kind of like the Ryan Palmers of the world, right? Like he shot 7 under in these windy conditions in the afternoon. Now I'm not going to tail that performance, right? He's going to get some ownership. There's zero chance he's going out there and doing that 2 days in a row. Fingers crossed, right? Because I just gave him the ultimate anti-mush there. You want to target those sort of players, though, right? Like guys that have been around the block, right? That have shown that ability in windy conditions in the past. So when we go through the player poll later, I'll try to point out as many of those players as possible. But you're just really looking for tour veterans, right? Like Pan Kazire, been around for God knows how long. He's probably fitting that description. Matt Kuchar, obviously an old wily veteran. He's the same kind of guy you could take there. Let's see. Let's find you a few other good examples. Like, I guess Terrell Henn. I mean, he's kind of like a cop out, right? I'm more talking for like the 6 and 7K range, looking for these players. Let's find a few. Bill Haas, right? Going to good old Bill Haas. He's bald at this point. Honestly, not the worst idea. Jimmy Walker, great player that you could take that's experienced. That sort of guy, right? I'm not talking about for your 9 and 10K options, looking for the old dudes, but down low with some slightly nasty wins expected. I think that might be the edge or what you should be looking at there. So if we don't have an edge in terms of the weather, most of our edge is going to come down to game theory. So when we get to the player poll later, you're going to see that most of the guys that are like 6 under or better, in fact, I think all of them, except for one player on that list, I'm not going to have in my player poll. And you could have probably guessed who the one guy I'm still going to play is, right? He's highlighted there on the screen. Let's take a look at pins before we get into the DFS side of things and start to break it down on a player-by-player basis. I'll remind you, if you're here for props, we're going to be doing that just after DFS. So hopefully 10, 15 minutes from now, after we go through the whole player poll, we'll be on to that side. So just, I guess, a little bit of a PSA to anybody that's new here with the channel. We have been doing these Showdown streams over the last few months or so. That is going to change going forward. And just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So taking a look at these pins, they look nasty. I mean, anytime you're looking at these overhead screens, you're going to have issues. They're going to look harder than they are, right? But I mean, look at this, 5 paces, 4 paces, 5 paces. Like, it's not just that they look close to the edge, right? Like, you know, there's a few that are 9 paces off the side. We have a center pin on hole number 3, but they're few and far between, right? Most of them are tucked on the back 9 that is significantly harder than the front 9. 10's a tough pin, 11, 12 are really hard holes to begin with. The pins aren't going to help. I don't think you're going to see nearly as many nuclear scores as what you saw today. Like, I don't think someone's going to shoot 11 under par in the kind of conditions that we're going to see tomorrow. And I think you're going to see far fewer of these 7 under par and better sort of rounds. So just keep that in mind. If we're looking at props later, right, we're going to come back to this pin sheet, come back to the weather to remind anybody, but it's going to be tougher sledding than what you saw here for the first round. So don't be slightly taken off by that when you see it tomorrow morning. Let's catch up, bring up our DFS projections, and get this thing rocking. Oh, I actually got to open up the projections. There we go. Sweet. Let's catch up on chat. See what's going on, boys. So we've got that up, and we got Rob down there. Eberly 2.0, never forget. That is the wagon of all wagons. You love it. That was like one of the only ones that hit out of the. I took like 1 or 2 of your hockey plays, and I did a bunch of my NBA stuff. NBA stuff is never the move. Gus says, "Hi Luke. Any hope with Tom Kim? Yeah, he's even par, right? He needs to shoot like 3, maybe 4 under par tomorrow to go out there and make the cut. Definitely, right? Scotty still shot 7 under par in the harder conditions today. Oh yeah, definitely. The hope that's lost, at least for me in main slate, is that I don't have Scotty Scheffler. And I think he's just going to run away with this event at this point. If you can't tell, I'm trying to mush it a little bit. Colin says, anybody know why Vincent Whaley went away for a while? I don't know. I think, is he just playing Corn Ferry Tour stuff at this point? That would be my guess, Colin. If he's dealing with something else, I have no idea. Those bogey props, ooh, good call. I'm going to have to take a look at him. Taylor Montgomery, do you think he makes the cut? I think same thing, right? Even par, right? He's got to shoot 3 or 4 under par tomorrow. So, I mean, honestly, I'd put his odds of making the cut at probably like 40%. I mean, for these elite tier players, right, to shoot something like 3 under 4 under par tomorrow, I don't think it's too outrageous. I don't want to say that I'd expect it because, that's just going to put all the negative juju on them. But no, I think that's reasonable for sure. All right, let's hop into the player-by-player breakdown. So 1 second. Just water this time, guys. I played golf today, so just trying to replenish myself. Not going crazy. We're not going to go crazy till the weekend, right? But at the top of the board, I'm playing Scotty Scheffler. And this is partially a mush for the main slate. Every time I play somebody, right, that's super chalky when it comes to Showdown, they usually don't work out. So if he ends up working out or if he goes out there, smashes tomorrow morning, well, I'm going to be pretty happy with my Showdown lineups. If I successfully pull off the mush, well, then we have that going for main slate. So for me, it's a win-win situation. That's why I'm going with Scotty up top. But far more interesting are some of the pivots that I'm taking, right? Like a Tom Kim, a Gsluke, who I think is just a ticking time bomb waiting to go off with how poorly he putted today. We've got Kuchar, right? That wily veteran I was talking about. Seamus Power, right? Another player who kind of underperformed today. But he's low-owned, and he's really used to the wind, right? He's from fucking Northern Ireland, or actually, I think he's just from Ireland. Either way, in the past, RSM Classic, RBC Heritage, we've seen this guy play well. Taylor Montgomery, right? Even par. He's another low-owned player. So, yeah, I think a lot of the industry, right, especially if you played these sort of guys for your main slate, aren't going to try and get back to them, right? They're going to be like, oh, well, they didn't shoot 5-6 under par today. They're not going to do it again tomorrow. Well, you'd be surprised, right? Golf's a fickle sport. Crazy shit happens every single day. And you have to expect the unexpected when you're playing Showdown. And when that's coupled with low ownership, when it's usually coupled with lower price tags on players, especially for some of the guys that teed off this morning that struggled early, it makes me a buyer. I'm going to be a buyer all day. So I'm still taking a super chalky Scotty Scheffler, right? It's going to be a hurdle that I have to get over for some of these large field contests, but I have a ton, and I mean a ton of pivots that I'm able to fit in there, right? All of these guys, like 10% on a Tom Kim, right? 14% on a Gsluke. I think that's fair. Same thing on like a Matt Kuchar there. I'm not really going to have any issues differentiating myself. So that's why I can afford to play somebody that's going to be nearly 50% owned up there in the 12K range, albeit a little bit expensive, right? He does give you a little bit of issues with your pricing, right? With your just trying to put together a competitive lineup, right? I mean, that's a lot of salary to allocate to one guy, but you can make it work, right? Particularly with some of the 6K guys that I'm taking down below. It's worth noting that a lot of your chalk, right, are the guys that went off today, right? Like a Siwoo Kim and Adam Scott are well over 20%. Jason Day here's right around like 25% owned. I think if there's chalk to avoid, right, it's this 9K chalk, right, where you're getting guys close to 20-25% that it's really hard to back up a good round, right? They're going to be higher owned. They're going to be inflated in terms of their pricing. And a lot of times it's hard to go out there and replicate that 2 days in a row. So if I'm going to bet on anyone to do that, it's world number 2, right? He's been on a heater for the last 3-4 months at this point. But hopefully, especially for my game theory tomorrow, these chalky options don't end up working out. That's at least what I'll be hoping for, of course. Even down here into the lower end of the 8s, like the Zane Hoot, I don't love that ownership. Don't love the ownership on a Steven Yeager, where he's like 14% there. Down here in the 7K range, Dylan Wu getting a ton of attention. Sam Stevens, so just like the main slate, right after a good round. Those guys are just going to get even more popular. Eric Cole, nearly 15% owned, are all guys that I'm a little bit hesitant to get to, right? They were good plays. People were already excited to get to these guys for main slate. And now after seeing them go out there and fire a low round in the PM, I mean, they're just, especially in higher dollar single entry contests, these guys could be like 30% owned. Like if you woke up tomorrow and you saw Dylan Wu 25% owned in a single entry, don't be surprised. Sam Stevens, same thing. Eric Cole, like 20% owned in a single entry. Throw Bazane Hoot into that bucket. Throw Aaron Wise even into that bucket. All of those kind of plays are going to be way chalkier than I think most people would expect tomorrow. And GPP's ownership is going to be a little bit more spread out because that's just how it works, right? But in those single entries, those popular players are just going to get even more popular. So you might want to consider avoiding them. Let's see if there's any questions on specific players. What's up? Did you watch any of Monty's round? I did not. I was out on the golf course myself, so didn't have to worry about that. Early prediction for who the clubhouse leader is going to be. You'll go J-Day -13. I like that exercise. If you guys have any thoughts yourselves, feel free to go ahead and throw them down in chat. I mean, the cop-out answer, right? Scotty Scheffler, right? He's at -7. He's 4 shots off the lead. But let's get a little bit more creative, right? Let's not take the cop-out answer. Siwoo, heavy contender for me. Yeah, let's go Siwoo. Let's not push it too far there. Honestly, at -6, when he's 5 shots off the lead at this point, probably requires a semi-shitty round from Sung-Yil No to end up passing him there. But who knows? Maybe Siwoo goes out there, nukes the golf course, ends up shooting like 6-7 under par again. Might be your clubhouse leader. Who knows? So, yeah, cop-out answer, though, like percentage-wise, it's Scotty Scheffler, right? Him go out there, just repeat that performance, and he's probably your 36 hole leader. Let's see what else we can get. Let's keep looking at Hadman. Yeah, honestly, he had a decent round today, but it wasn't until the back 9. So you're saying for over 68 strokes. Yeah, I took him under 69 today, but he was in the morning wave, which was extremely helpful for him. Now he goes off tomorrow afternoon. So crunchy greens, windy conditions. Don't hate that, man. So I'll have to take a look. That's is it on Underdog or is it on Prize Picks? Probably on both sites. We'll have to take a look. You have your favorite props ready. Hey, fire them away later on, JGA. I'm definitely all ears on that end. Let's do some lineup construction. Then we're going to talk about some props here in like 5 minutes. But from the lineup construction perspective, you know, your cash lineup tomorrow, I don't want to say you have to have Scotty Scheffler, but I mean, unless you're just peppering this 9K range with chalk, which you could also go in that direction, I don't really see the argument. Personally, I'd rather have a Scotty Scheffler, eat the salary, you know, just try and, you know, maybe spend in that 7K range and be smart about it. The alternative, right, would be to take like a Jason Day, an Adam Scott, maybe even throw in a Siwoo Kim, and then build a lineup with your last 3 spots. You know, if you take a Scotty Scheffler, right, you can take at most one of those 3. And if you take Siwoo Kim, you're down to $7,200. That's probably what I would do for tomorrow if I was playing in a cash lineup. Now in GPPs, right, we don't want that chalk, right? That's what my quote unquote player pool is reflective of, right? My GPP player pool. Those sort of lineups, even if I start with a Scotty Scheffler, right, it's just making sure that I'm not pairing them up, right, with the Jason Days of the world, the Siwoo Kims of the world. Rather, trying to get to a few of these pivots. Maybe it's a, you know, Seamus Power that we can use as our second man in, as our third man in, right? Trying to find somebody relatively low owned. Maybe it's Ben Griffin, right? Unlike some of the other chalky 7K pieces, he did not have a good day today, right? He's in 124th right now. So he's, I believe, 1 over par the last time that I checked. $7,600, right? These sort of pivots, a Power, a Ben Griffin, make it okay to take a 40-50% owned Scotty Scheffler up top. In terms of pure, you know, trying to get some salary savings down low, pure value plays, let's see. Probably going to go a little bit more expensive. Not a ton of guys down there, but like a Tano Guayo, for example, right? $6,700. He's going to be sub 2% owned. You take 2-3 of those kind of players in a lineup, and that $12,200 giant up top doesn't even matter. So that's what I'm thinking for those GPP kind of lineups. If I was in a single entry, I guess I could be a little bit more chalky. This is where I wouldn't hate throwing in a Siwoo over there with Scotty Scheffler in a lineup. I also wouldn't even hate taking a piece of chalk here in the 7K range. So let's say you really, really like Dylan Wu tomorrow, which I kind of understand. He's been on a roll for quite some time, right? If I was in a single entry or even like a 2 to 3 max kind of GPP, I might be willing to start like this. And it's real chalky, right? You're taking 3 guys that are going to be some of the chalkiest players in their range, but you can get away with it with your last 3 spots. You can't be careless, let's say, with your last 3, but you know, if you're careful about it, you can get the job done, right? Throw in a Kramer Hickok, super low owned. He's going to be like sub 1%. Let's find another sub 1%. Let's go Austin Smotherman, for example, right? You'll find one more at 7K that you like that's going to be like sub 2% owned. And you have 3 chalky players, 3 pivots in that single entry. You can carry your points with your chalk. You can try and differentiate, right? Move up the leaderboard with your pivots down there and run with a GPP that way. So that is just some of the differing kind of mindsets that you want to have for these contests, right? In cash, don't worry about the chalk all that much. In GPPs, got to worry about it quite a lot. And then for single entry, it's a little bit of a hybrid of both, if that makes sense for y'all out there. Let's see, Scheffler and Day going -15 best ball again. Unlikely, but that'd be crazy. Did they really ham and egg it that well out there? That's impressive. Absolutely slammed Power under 69 strokes. Don't hate it. My boy's boyfriend is hanging out with her right now, so we tune in. What's going on, Forbesy? And yeah, like Super Clean said, hit that like button, boys. It goes a long way. Let's hop into props now. So prize picks, prize pricks, scam picks, whatever you guys want to use for them. I'm not even going to bet on today. Like, I don't even know why I have them up here. I had Scott. Let me just show you the props I had. And actually, I have to give a full-on shout-out to my boy Capriccio, who put me onto these. These are all props that I think are really good unders for fairways tomorrow. Actually, Gsluke wasn't on that list. All of these sort of players I took for unders, all of them but Hideki Matsuyama have already been bumped to this point. So I don't know, maybe you still keep the Hideki Matsuyama pick. You find a DMP or find one of your favorite other props and take it. But there's a reason why I don't bet on this site anymore. They bump things instantly. They have scammed their customers, which we talked about the other day. And they have the worst payouts, the worst multipliers of all the sites out there. There's no reason to play there anymore, truly. So let's take a look at the pick'em over here on Underdog. So let's bring up Underdog and let me see if No House Advantage has posted their board, because that would be clutch too. Be able to touch on that. Doesn't look like they have it up yet. That's unfortunate, but yeah, we'll take a look at that. Taking a look at that later on when it comes to the Patreon stuff. So Underdog is going to be our main focus since No House Advantage hasn't posted their board yet. And T. Swenny giving me that little nugget earlier about the bogey props has me thinking, right? Some tough pins, some wind out there. You know, hole 12 playing a lot harder than what you saw before. I'm thinking I'm riding that. I think I'm all for it. And I don't think it has to be AM or PM guys. I think they're both going to struggle, right? They're both going to be in higher winds. The morning guys, they're going to have receptive greens. The ball's not going to travel as far. So let's see. We're not going to fade Scotty, right? That would be silly, right? When we have all these other guys at 1.5 bogeys. But like Tom Hoagie, he makes a lot of bogeys. I know that for a fact. Adam Scott's prone to making bogeys too, truth be told. I mean, Aaron Wise, I love you to death, buddy. I'm ruined for you right after his mental health thing, but like he makes bogeys like crazy. This is looking like a slip right here. Might go with those three. I mean, Power, I like him tomorrow, but he's still bogey prone. Like I could see him going under 69 and still having 2 bogeys. That's the thing. A lot of these strokes props, they could go under, yet still hit the overs over here for bogeys or worse. So if you think that Tom Kim has another really bad day, right, like his over for bogeys would make a ton of sense. Ooh, they're already taking shit off. All right, I guess we gotta enter these before they take them off. Okay, we'll go with those two over here for the stream. So obviously, I got to keep some of the stuff behind the paywall, but those are the first 2 props that I think I like. Obviously, the first 2 that I entered, as you guys can see here. But outside of that, I think there's going to be value just for fades in general, right? We were talking about some of the struggles I expect these guys to have. If you're just tuning in now, the wins are pretty much as high as they were in the afternoon, the entire day today, for the entire day tomorrow. And you can see the scoring average reflected that, right? In the afternoon, it was about a shot harder than what they had in the morning wave. So it played like 1.28 under par as opposed to 2.3 strokes under par. That's probably going to happen again. So if we're expecting the whole, day to be slightly harder, like I couldn't be betting overs at 5.5. Let me put it that way. Like overs on Adam Scott, like just no thank you there, right? Let's see, 69 strokes for Aaron Wise. Like I don't think I could take an under on him there. It's just it's going to be a tougher day of golf, especially with some of these pins too. We showed these earlier here, but look at some of these pin locations: 5 spots from the side. 4 paces from the side there, hole number 2. A few easy ones, right? Hole number 3 looks like a relatively easy pin. I think hole 18 doesn't look all that tough. That's also a par 5, so that'll be a scoreable hole. But a lot of these par 4s, especially the tough par 4s, 10 through 13 are really difficult holes to begin with. And I mean, look at some of these pins, right? 12's a front pin, so maybe playing a little bit shorter, but they're tucked. They're not going to be easy out there tomorrow. So like I was saying, these 2 bogey props, probably what I would stick with right now. But if you take a look at the rest of the board, there's going to be other fades to be had. Whether it's for strokes, like Hideki 67.5, like that's pretty aggressive in terms of his projection. We already pointed out the unders on birdies are better for like Adam Scott. Like cage lead. Like, I feel like those are okay. Like maybe under 5 birdies for Matt Kuchar. Like, I think he'll play well tomorrow, but he's got to get to 6 birdies to kill us there. And with those windy conditions, those pin locations, I have a hard time thinking that's going to happen, or at least happen all that often. Let's see. All right, let's catch up on chat. Let's see what's going on down there. Every golfer's at 1.5 bogeys. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Honestly, I'm going to be adding more props after we get off of here. That's for sure. Tom Hoagie under 68.5 strokes. Scotty over 5.5. Okay. And under 13 greens, and then under 10 for Seamus. Yeah, the under 10 for Seamus was great. They did bump that, unfortunately. Let's see. Benny Ann under 13. I could get behind that, right? Difficult pin locations, also windy. I like that. The Scotty over 5.5 birdies. Honestly, I don't hate that. Not honestly. He's over here in Underdog, isn't he? I might add that myself because, like, he played in the harder conditions today, right? What do you make, 9 birdies? Something like that, 8 birdies out there. Just absolutely went off. That's probably not the worst bet. The strokes is crazy, right? 66.5 strokes. Like, no thank you, right? But this birdie or better line, he might be the one guy to take there. The Tom Hoagie under 68.5. Don't know if I'm the biggest fan. He's a little bit inconsistent. Get it off the screen, Prize Picks. Yep. They don't call him double bogey Hoagie for nothing. Yep. And he'll shoot -7 one day and then +5 the next. He's very bipolar with his scoring. Matsuyama is a bogey too. That is true. The only thing I have to say about Hideki, though, is he was unbelievable today with the ball striking. Like, he shot -5. He could have easily shot -8 or -9 out there. So I would be kind of worried about that, but it's a 1.5 bogey line. We're getting the 2 bogeys is nothing. I would expect a lot of guys to go over. Any unders for birdies or better on Underdog? Yeah, maybe the Adam Scott was the one that was kind of catching my eye here. This under 5.5 seems aggressive for him, especially with the kind of conditions that we're getting. Hideki, like, I'm scared to fade that just because of how well that he was playing today. Adam Scott really wasn't playing that well. He chipped in for 2 birdies. He made like a 30-footer. Scotty Scheffler, right? I also would not fade at 5.5, right? If anything, I'd take his over because he was just hitting the absolute shit out of it, right? Looking at the shots gained, it's pretty clear, even though I didn't get to see his round out there, that he played really well. Yeah, so unders and like Adam Scott, I'd say. That would be the main one that I see. I guess maybe you could throw Matt Kuchar in there as well. You signed a CSGO chat waiting for a DMP with all those 10 fairways. Yeah, they got bumped as soon as I posted them on Patreon. Sorry about that. Live being offered anywhere else. Yeah, they are an Underdog. So let's point that out, actually, right? Good point. They're on Underdog, but you got to scroll down. So if you click on golf over here, it'll just show like the DP World Tour stuff. But they have birdies up for Live. And honestly, I can't give you guys advice on Live Tulsa yet. I have not done my research, so I don't want to give you guys bad advice. So I have no takes on the Live at this point. But yeah, that's where you can find them, Damon. They're right on there. Smash the like button, guys. I love it. I love it. So let's take a look at a few other props on here. Let's actually just put together a slip. So I already maxed out Adam Scott. I'm not going to be able to bet that. Let's go ahead and I guess I liked the Kuchar under. Ooh, I clicked the wrong thing there. There we go. Wait, why is it not letting me? There it goes. I don't know what was going on there. Let's put the Kuchar under, though. They had him at 68 strokes now. Did he just get bumped down? Is that 68.5 before? Or am I crazy? Interesting. Worth noting. Like Jason Day, he's pretty good at avoiding bogeys. I guess that's the main reason I didn't take that. Seamus, though, Sibu Kim makes bogeys. Sibu Kim, like when he gets offline with anything, he starts to make bogeys in bunches. So let's keep those 3 up there for now. The board's not massive, right? What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players. We already bet on 2 of them and maxed them out. Yeah, it's not ideal. Not as large a board, I guess, as Prize Picks, but No House Advantage has got our back. And speaking of, let's see if they've got this golf board up. They do. Look at that. Maybe they're watching. I hope they are. Let's see what we've got. 4.5 birdies. It looks very similar to Prize Picks, which was the case for round 1, so not surprising. Let's see. What do they got Scotty at? 67 strokes. Fair. I would say it's a fair projection. All right. So yeah, looks extremely similar to what we're getting over there in Prize Picks. Okay. No fairway props posted. Interesting. And then their greens regulation also very similar to what we're going to get over there in Prize Picks. So, okay. Definitely some value probably to be had for some unders, I'd say, for birdies. Because it looks like, yeah, they have some of like the sorry tier players on here, right? Guys that aren't known as birdie makers. Like Love You to Death Hadwin, but like 4.5 birdies, maybe we're slamming that under tomorrow. Let's get them out of there, though. Not so sure we're actually going to take that as a play. So let's see if there's any questions down there. Massive no for you on Live. Yeah, I haven't. I got to look at the course first before I know. But when we don't know much about a golf course, it's hard to make informed bets. So we'll have to see. I don't think there's a ton of info out on it. So we'll have to check on that. Hadden 67.5 on Prize Picks. It's 68.5 over there in Underdog. So yeah, if you're going to fade him, I guess you'd want to fade him over here on Prize Picks, right? 67.5. I don't like betting on Prize Picks, but yeah, I guess that's honestly not a horrible look. Like if I could find a pairing, maybe they get me to, deposit, put a little slip in on here. We'll keep that loaded up for later, right? Just in case. That's a good look because I would fade him at 68 strokes, especially if I thought he was at 68.5 before, like you said. Especially now he's at 67. We'll see. We'll keep that on the back burner for right now. Actually, I think I'm going to fire on this guy right here. Let's do that. Let's add the Siwoo Kim and Seamus fades. So I like both these guys tomorrow. I think they're going to play relatively decent, but they are bogey makers playing in relatively difficult conditions. So don't think it's the worst play to go with some of these bogey props here. So let's go ahead and cut off the stream right there, boys. Unless you guys have any questions, we'll touch on them before we get out of here. He's been at 68. Gotcha. Why is under 13 greens thoughts? All right, let's see. What's he on a no house advantage? Just for comparison's sake. And he said, who is it? Aaron Wise. So he's at 13 on both sites. How many did he hit today is the question. Let me bring up the leaderboard. The issue is he's such an unknown, right? I guess that's the problem that I'm having with that bet. I honestly don't know how to read it. He played decently today, right? Despite not playing for quite some time, right? Shot 3 under par. Let's see. He only hit 11 greens. He lost 2 strokes on approach. Oof. So the only part of his game that he sucked at, right, around the green was great. I mean, look at that. 2.7 strokes gained. About a stroke gained off the tee. Oof. I mean, I guess, right? Like, he was rusty round 1. Might be rusty round 2. He's a PM wave tee time. He's going to have crusty greens, windy conditions. I could see it. Let's add that over here. Let's just put it on the back burner. Might need a DNP to make these work, but let's go ahead and add that to the back burner there. All right, over here, no house advantage. Let's go ahead and just put that on there too, just so I remember. Don't think it's the worst play at all, honestly. Birdies are better. I'm trying to find. Wait, did they screw you on the payouts on here? They don't. See, this is the beautiful part about no house advantage, right? Let's say you really like Aaron Wise under for greens regulation, and you want to play 2 fades, like you think it's going to be real windy tomorrow, right? Like I do, right? Like that's how I'm reading this board right now. You want to play a no house advantage because you can get regular payouts, right? As opposed to on Prize Picks, let's look at this, 2.5x, right? Is what they're going to pay. Just absolute highway robbery. Over here on no house advantage, just for comparison's sake, right? Let's put an over here. This isn't really a prop that I'm taking, but you would get paid 3.2x for it, right? Seems like worth the investment, especially if they're going to have the same props posted. Just feels like it's the better site to play on, right? Even with my grudge aside, I feel like it's the spot to be at. And they're not paying me to say this, by the way. It's my legitimate opinion on it. I'm not an affiliate for No House Advantage or anything like that, right? There's no promo codes me selling out here. It's legitimately just a better site than Prize Picks. Let's see, Hideki 67.5. Don't hate that either. All right, unless there's any more questions, we're probably hopping out of here. Would you rather do hand strokes or under fairways? What's his fairway line? It's a good question. Is he at 10? He's at 10 fairways. He hits a lot of fairways. So the difference between him and then some of like the other fades I took is like these guys are outside the top 100 when it comes to their accuracy. Haddon is in the top 20 of driving accuracy. So maybe not that the fairways. I kind of like the strokes more, especially because there's the value between the two sites. And he did not look all that good today, right? What did he shoot 2 under par? Was that his final score today? And I got the 3 under. He had made 2 bogeys, only five birdies on the day. Yeah, I honestly don't hate the fade, right? He's going to have to really clean it up if he's going to cover 67.5 or make 7 or 8 birdies, which would be just a huge turnaround after round 1. So yeah, I think I'm siding in that direction right now. And honestly, what do they have him at no house advantage? Is he at 67.5? Yeah, let's just go ahead and fire that. All right, second bet of the day, under Aaron Wise greens, over on Terrell Haddon strokes. There we go. So the way they do it over here is like the slips look way different, right? But they'll turn like red and green, right? They'll update live, which is pretty nice compared to some of the other sites. And it's pretty sweet. It's the same thing as Prize Picks, right? They have league, they have tennis, they've got NBA stuff that they're posting over here. So I think it's worth checking out. See, they have fairways up now. Okay. Looks very similar to Prize Picks. Who would have thought? Anything that was pre-bumped? No, they got the stuff bumped on there. So interesting. Like I said, if you're going to bet anything like this, just especially if you're taking fades, like you're not going to get 3.2x on Prize Picks, or you're going to get 0.7x more for playing over here for the same lines. It's just, you'd be crazy not to play there, in my opinion. Alrighty, that's all I've got here, boys. I'm going to go over there, get into the Patreon, get into the Discord, cook up some cards there for tomorrow. So best of luck with any of the DFS lineups that you guys are playing there, any slips that you're playing on No House Advantage or Underdog, and let's cash out a little bit, right? Let's take home a GPP. Let's get a little 4 or 5x or maybe a 10xer over there for the prop slips, and to have ourselves a Friday. Get this weekend started right. So best of luck. I'll catch you guys next time. Doing the same thing tomorrow. It's probably going to be a little bit earlier, hopefully closer to like 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm covering all things for Saturday at the Byron Nelson. But let's get it, boys.